The house under Hollow Creek Road. On the morning Pao Vang signed the papers for the house on Hollow Creek Road, he thought he had finally done something right for his family. For years, California had felt like a hand around his throat. Every month, rent climbed higher. Gas cost more. Groceries cost more. Insurance cost more. Even breathing seemed to come with a bill. Pao was 38 years old, working long hours, coming home tired, and still feeling like he was falling behind. Me, his wife, was 36, and she had learned how to stretch money. So far, it almost became magic. She clipped coupons, bought meat only when it was on sale, saved leftovers in plastic containers, and told the children not to ask for things she already knew they could not afford. But there were nights when Pao found her sitting at the kitchen table after everyone had gone to bed, staring at the numbers in a notebook like she was waiting for them to change. They had 3 children. Angie was 15, old enough to understand what money did to adults, and angry enough to blame the move on everyone except the bills. Scott was 8, quiet and soft-spoken, the kind of boy who noticed shadows in corners and changes in people's voices. Crystal was 4, still small enough to believe any house could become a home if her mother unpacked her blankets and her father plugged in her nightlight. When Pao first told his family they were leaving California for Oklahoma, Angie cried in her room for 2 days. Scott asked if Oklahoma had monsters. Crystal asked if they could bring the couch. Pao's older brother, Cy, had been the first one to encourage him. "You cannot keep paying California prices forever," Cy told him one Sunday after church, standing beside Pao's old truck with his arms crossed. "You work and work, but the money disappears before your hands touch it." Pao's older sister, Mai, agreed. She was practical, sharp-tongued, and protective in the way older sisters often are. "Buy land somewhere cheaper," she told him. "Even if it is far, at least it will be yours. Rent is throwing money into fire." His younger brother, Ku, was more excited than everyone else. "Oklahoma is not that bad," he said while helping Pao scroll through listings online. "Look at this one. Big house, big yard, cheap." That was the first time Pao saw the house on Hollow Creek Road. 2 stories, white siding, wraparound porch, blue shutters faded by weather, a long gravel driveway, a field behind it dry and golden, leading to a crooked line of cottonwood trees near an old creek bed. The price was so low Pao thought it was a mistake. Me leaned over his shoulder and stared at the listing. "That is too cheap," she said. Pao nodded, but his heart was already reaching for it. Maybe it needs work. Maybe something is wrong with it. Every house has something wrong with it. Me did not answer. In the end, the numbers made the decision for them. The house was cheap enough that if they sold what they could, empty their savings, and accepted a little help from relatives, they could buy it outright. No landlord, no rent, no California prices, just a house that belonged to them. When they loaded the moving truck, Cy came with rope, work gloves, and a quiet seriousness. Mai brought foil trays of food for the road. Coop joked too much, trying to keep Pao from crying in front of everybody. "You are doing the right thing," Cy said as he helped strap down the last mattress. Pao looked toward the apartment where his children had grown up and tried to believe him. "I hope so," he said. Mai put a hand on his shoulder. "You are giving them something stable." Pao nodded. That word stayed with him. Stable. That was all he wanted. A place where his family could breathe. The drive to Oklahoma took 2 days. They passed through desert, flat highways, cheap motels, gas stations, and long stretches of road where the sky seemed too big. Crystal slept with her stuffed rabbit pressed under her chin. Scott counted trucks. Angie wore headphones and stared out the window like she had been kidnapped. Me tried to stay hopeful. She talked about planting herbs in the backyard. She talked about painting the kitchen. She talked about finding a Hmong community somewhere close enough to visit. Pao listened and smiled because when Me planned, he could almost believe they had escaped. They reached the small Oklahoma town in the late afternoon. The town had 1 grocery store, 1 diner, 2 churches, a feed shop, a tire repair place, and a gas station with a bell above the door. Hollow Creek Road was 3 miles outside of town, past open fields and rusted fences, where the pavement narrowed and the houses became farther apart. When Pao turned onto the gravel driveway, Crystal woke up and pressed her face against the window. "Is that our house?" she asked.